I just sold my $50,000 Rolex to buy more Bitcoin, and people think I'm crazy for doing that. But what if I told you that not owning any Bitcoin is actually riskier than owning just a small fraction of one? Look, in a world where AI is disrupting everything and our dollars are continuing to be printed into oblivion, it's important you understand how to protect your hard-earned money. And in this video, I'll show you why having zero Bitcoin could be the biggest financial mistake you ever make, and why even just 0.1 Bitcoin might be the insurance policy you need against what's coming. By the way, my name is Brian Moncada. I'm the founder of adspend.com. I built a multi-seven-figure agency scaled to over $350,000 months, and I help coaches, consultants, course creators, and agency owners scale using YouTube ads and AI systems, just like I've done with my business. But here's the problem most people, including entrepreneurs and business owners like me, don't realize until it's too late. The money that you and I are earning is backed by nothing. It's worthless. Let me show you what I mean. Look at this chart of the dollar's purchasing power over the last 50 years. Did you know that the dollar has lost 80% of its value? That's insane. You can see the trend right here. $1, was worth $1 in 1971, has now decreased to 0.031 cents now in 2025. And just this year alone, the dollar has already lost 11% of its value just this year. And because the dollar is still the world's reserve currency, it's affecting all of us right now. For example, take a look at this. My friend sent me this text the other day after watching one of my YouTube videos. He lives in Europe, but he pays his rent in dollars. The actual euro amount of his rent hasn't changed, but look how many more dollars he needs to pay his rent each and every month. You can see, in February of just this year, his rent cost him $1,961 US. In March, it cost him $2,008 US. In April, it cost him $2,049. In May, $2,141. In June, $2,150. In July, $2,236 just to pay his rent. That's a 14% increase in just 5 months. And it's not because his landlord raised his rent, it's because the dollar is losing value compared to the euro. Now you might be thinking, Brian, this doesn't affect me. I don't have to pay anything in euros. But here's the thing. This same process is happening with everything you buy. Your office space, your subscriptions, your groceries, your team salaries, everything is getting more expensive. Not because the actual value is increasing, right? His rent for his place that he was already living at didn't magically get better overnight. There wasn't more space for him to live, but it's because the dollar is decreasing in purchasing power. I mean, have you been to the grocery store lately? The price of everything is getting more expensive. This is a tweet from someone who's been taking the same picture of the price of the same beef he's been buying from the same store the last 5 years. Here's what he says. Update on the same ribeye in the same store I've been tracking for 5 years now. Annualized inflation over the past year equals 10.6%. That's $32.49 a pound versus $28.99 last April, which is a 14-month difference. Average of 12% annualized inflation or 62% cumulative inflation since 2020. So now the price of his beef at the same store for the last 5 years is $32.49 per pound versus in 2020, it was $19.99 per pound. Now let me ask you a very simple question. Did the price of beef, this beef, magically get better? Does it have more protein in it? Are the cows grass-fed? Clearly not by looking at this price tag. Is the quality of beef better? No. The price of dollars is worse. Even my wife made a comment to me the other day saying how she remembers back when we first moved to Miami at the end of 2021, how the price of pasture-raised eggs, the Vital Farms brand that we always buy, was only like $10 for a pack of 18 eggs. But today, that same brand, for those same eggs, costs $14.99 apparently. At least that's what she told me. And don't even get me started on home prices. I saw this on Instagram the other day. Check this out. This freaking home right here. This dusty old apartment building that looks like it's not supposed to be lived in. It should be torn down, and it probably will be torn down. Sold for $1.25 million somewhere here in Miami. Now, let me ask you a very simple question. Let's be real, y'all. Are y'all buying this for $1.25 million? No chance. Obviously, unless you're going to tear it down and renovate on it and do something differently, maybe it's worth it. But is this place, this dusty old building, worth $1.25 million? No. The answer is no. But the reason the price of everything is inflated is because our money is broken. It's backed by nothing, which is hilarious when people argue with me that Bitcoin's backed by nothing. It's like, so is the money that you're using every single day, you and me. It's backed by nothing. The government just keeps printing more of it. During COVID, they printed something like 80% of all new dollars in existence in just a few months. And we're already $37 trillion in debt. And they just passed the Big Beautiful Bill, which apparently will print another $3.3 trillion on top of that. There is no hope in going back. Okay, so now you understand the problem and it's time to present you with the solution. And go figure, the solution is, drum roll please, Bitcoin, okay? And here's why. Bitcoin has 4 key properties that make it the perfect solution to this broken money problem. First, it has a limited supply, okay? There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, period. No one can print more. No one can inflate it away. It's written into the code. That's the best part. Second, it's infinitely divisible, okay? Which means one Bitcoin can be divided into 100 million Satoshis, or sats for short. Think of these like cents for every dollar, okay? This means you don't need to own one whole Bitcoin to have Bitcoin to participate, okay? You can own a fraction like 0.1 or 0.01 or even just a few thousand Satoshis. Third, it runs on a public ledger called the blockchain. This means every transaction ever is transparent and verifiable. No one can cheat the system. No one can counterfeit Bitcoin. It's the most honest money we've ever had. And fourth, with Bitcoin, you become your own bank. You don't need permission from anyone to send or receive it. You don't need a bank account. You don't need to verify your identity when you want to pull cash out. You just need an internet connection and a wallet. And in a world where everything is becoming digital, doesn't it make sense that our money would become digital too? But not the kind of money that central banks are creating, where they can still print more and track your every purchase and reward you or penalize you based off the daily actions you do. I'm talking about truly digital, truly scarce money that you control, that cannot be confiscated and cannot be manipulated. And I'm not the only one who sees this. The smart money is already moving in. Did you see the news that Harvard just bought $117 million worth of Bitcoin ETFs? Yes, Harvard, one of the most prestigious universities in the world with one of the largest endowments. And it's not just Harvard. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager with over $10 trillion under management, launched a Bitcoin ETF earlier this year. They wouldn't do that if they didn't see the potential or if they didn't see where the currency in terms of dollars was going. India. Freaking India, the country, is now one of the world's largest Bitcoin holders. The country that used to be skeptical about crypto is now embracing it. Even Grant Cardone, Uncle G, baby, recently announced that he owns 1,000 Bitcoin. That's over $100 million worth at today's prices. These aren't everyday people. These are huge companies, huge financial institutions, and super wealthy businessmen who understand what's happening to our money and are taking action to protect themselves while other assets continue to depreciate when measured in Bitcoin. And yes, you heard me right. Everything else that you can buy to protect yourself from inflation is going to go to zero when priced in Bitcoin. That's real estate, that's stocks, that's bonds, that's even gold and land too. For some quick proof, let me show this to you. Real estate is one of the best investments, so people say, but only when measured in US dollars. Price your real estate in Bitcoin and suddenly your investment doesn't look so pretty, and you can see it clearly for yourself. This chart goes top to the right, but not up, it goes down. And you can see that's because when you price real estate in how it's actually worth, what it's actually truly worth, not the $1.25 million Miami dusty old shack that we just saw earlier, it's worth less and less when it's priced in a truly scarce asset. And so in dollars, your real estate might be growing and keeping up your purchasing value, but in Bitcoin, it's going to continue to trend to zero. And you and I will eventually be able to buy more and more real estate with less and less Bitcoin the more this trend continues, because they will never stop printing more money. That's confirmed. It's never happened. Every fiat currency goes to zero because of this problem. And this is the best part. There are approximately 60 million millionaires in the world, but only 21 million Bitcoin will ever exist. Not even every millionaire can own one whole Bitcoin. The math doesn't work. So what do you think is going to happen as more and more wealthy individuals and institutions wake up to this reality? The demand is going to continue to skyrocket, but the supply can never increase. It's basic economics, supply and demand. There's not enough to go around. This is why I believe owning 0 Bitcoin is actually riskier than owning just 0.1. Because if Bitcoin continues on its adoption curve, the opportunity cost of anyone not owning any could be extremely risky. So how do you start to acquire and buy Bitcoin as fast as possible? Well, you could just go buy some right now, like literally just go buy some, and I would highly encourage you to do that. But if you're like most people, you probably don't have $100,000 plus sitting around to buy a whole Bitcoin. Now remember, you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You can buy 0.1 or 0.01 and at least start accumulating some Bitcoin now. But if you want to start earning enough money to be able to buy one Bitcoin before the price continues to rise, which it will, that's where entrepreneurship comes in, and specifically starting a service-based business. Let me share my story with you. When I started my company, adspend.com, I didn't have a lot of money. I couldn't invest in anything, but I had a skill. I knew how to run YouTube ads, and I knew there were business owners out there who needed help getting more clients and more customers. So I started offering them my services. At first, I was only charging $1,000 a month, then $2,000, then $3,000, then $5,000, and eventually we were charging $10,000 plus per month for our agency services. And now people pay me $15,000 up front just to work with me. And here's the thing, starting a service-based business is still one of the easiest and best ways to make money online. Why? Because businesses always need more clients and customers. If they don't have customers, they go out of business. It's that simple. And right now, there's an even bigger opportunity because not only do businesses need help with marketing and advertising, they also need help with implementing AI agents and systems that can reduce payroll, increase profits, and improve efficiency. Think about it. If you can help a business owner get more clients and reduce their costs, that's a no-brainer offer. They'll pay you handsomely for that. The best part, you don't need a ton of experience or even a bunch of technical skills to get started. It's way easier today than it was even when I first started my business just 5 years ago. But you do have to be willing to learn, okay? You do have to be willing to take action, and you do have to be willing to never quit, because that's what I did. Business isn't easy. Entrepreneurship is hard. It's way harder than working a 9-to-5 job. But when you do it and you continue doing it, so much so that you don't quit and you eventually see the results, it's very much worth it. For example, I have clients in my mastermind who started from zero but wanted to build an agency, so they literally just copied me and are now making $30,000, $50,000, $100,000, even $250,000 per month, helping businesses with marketing and AI implementation. And guess what many of them are doing with that money? They're buying Bitcoin. They're securing their financial future. They're protecting themselves from the broken money system. So here's my advice. Start building a service-based business today. Help business owners get more clients and implement AI systems. Use the profits to buy Bitcoin, even if it's just 0.1 Bitcoin to start. Because in a world where AI is disrupting everything and dollars are going to be continued to be printed into oblivion, the seemingly safe option of having zero exposure to Bitcoin will actually be riskier in the future. And if you're someone who wants to learn more about how to build a service-based business like I did, helping business owners with marketing and AI implementation, I've created a free community on School where I share my strategies, tactics, and frameworks, and a mini course you can go through as well. Just click the first link in the description to join. And if you're already making at least $30,000 per month in your service-based business as an agency or a coach, and you want to scale to $100,000 per month or more, check out my mastermind. You get to work with me one-on-one every single week, and we meet in person at least 3 times a year in amazing locations across the world like Miami last year, New York last year, and even Hong Kong in just a few weeks. And I personally help you implement these strategies in your business. Lastly, if you want to see me getting paid $15,000 in Bitcoin from a client, you can click this video right here. This is called Why Every Business Owner Needs to Get Paid in Bitcoin and why I show you it's the best way to get paid as a business owner in the future. I'll see you there. Cheers.